Good afternoon and good morning, everyone. I will introduce myself now. My name is Monica Nixon, and I have the honor of serving NASPA as the Assistant Vice President for Equity, Inclusion, and Social Justice. And one of the areas that's under that umbrella are the knowledge communities. And it's one of the joys of the work that I get to do with NASPA is the opportunity to connect with 36 knowledge communities. I just want to give a very big shout out to the orientation, transition, and retention knowledge community, and particularly your leadership team. Some of you may know this, but a year ago, the OTRKC was not as strong as it is right now. And so the current leadership team stepped in and said, wow, we have such a robust community of orientation, transition, and retention professionals on campus who want to connect. And so we want to make sure that we can, function healthily as a knowledge community. And so Kimberly and Brett, have been working really closely with the knowledge community director all year. And literally, at this point, like every time we need to do something, I just automatically know that OTR's already got everything handled. So, just big kudos to your knowledge community and to the leadership and participation that they've shown. So I will turn it back over to you all now.
Thank you, Monica. So we've got a robust 50 minutes or so that we've got aligned here today. And we want to provide you in this virtual business meeting a lot of the information that we would have been sharing in person had we been in Austin. So this is our first official business meeting after being reactivated by the NASPA Board of Directors. And so we want to provide you a little bit of overview about what the KC is. Some of you may be very familiar with the OTRKC. Some of you might be like, this is my first time interacting with it. So we want to provide you a little bit about the origins, our focus area, what we've done over the last year, what we're going to do as we move forward, highlight 2 of our current open volunteer positions within the KC, and then we want to allow some conversation time by the orientation, the transition, and the retention functional areas. So a little bit about the KC. So the NASPA Board of Directors about 2 years ago, originally approved the Orientation, Transition, and Retention KC. And then the KC went on a little bit of a hiatus due to some inactivity. And in January of 2019, we began the process of Kimberly and I working with our leadership team members to say, we stepped in and said, we're going to revitalize this and reactivate this as an opportunity to serve the OT and the R and many other individuals who work maybe outside of having OT or R in their title within our NASPA members. And so we wanted to provide that opportunity and that space for NASPA members to connect. And so last year, officially about a year ago, as Monica said, the KC was reactivated, officially approved as reactivation by the NASPA Board of Directors. And so we have since learned that our membership is very broad encompassing. We have those who work in the orientation space, in the transition space, in the retention space, as well as those who work outside of that. We've got vice presidents and deans. We've got graduate students, undergraduate students, and members all across the world. As we begin to figure out how do we best develop the structure to make this KC work over the past year, we really focused our leadership team into 4 key areas. And these are what we view as the primary areas or the 5 areas related to the success of the KC. So our education and research team, which I know you'll hear from that team in just a little bit, has been very hard at work to make sure that we provide resources and continuing education for our members. Our membership team, comprised of our regional representatives and our global initiatives coordinators, are making sure that we are connecting you in whatever constituency that you might identify with from a geographic area. Our outreach team is very much involved with how do we connect to other constituent groups within NASPA, as well as external associations outside of NASPA. Our communications team, you'll hear some of their updates in a little bit as well regarding how are we communicating out. And then our administrative team, Rashonda and Alina, who are running all of the behind the scenes things with this meeting and all of our meetings. They really keep us organized. And so that's really how we have aligned our leadership team. Our leadership team is about a little over 41. I think we're at 41, 42 members on the KC leadership team. We're always looking for opportunities to connect our members in a leadership capacity. We'll talk about some ways to do that in a little bit. over the past year, one of our biggest pieces has been working with Monica and as well as Matt Clifford, the director of knowledge communities, to make sure that we're meeting the expectations of NASPA in terms of making sure that we are meeting the pieces that we're providing education to our members. We're providing opportunities for our members to connect via regional representatives. We're publishing in the NASPA publication guide. And so what was one of our biggest things is we wanted to make sure as we reactivated this KC to make sure that we were meeting the expectations. And I feel like we have done so from a KC standpoint over the past year. So that was one of our biggest focus areas in year one as a KC.
Great. We wanted to shift and kind of talk to you a little bit about what's happened over the last year. The first thing we really want to say is that it's been a year of learning together as a leadership team. One of the great strengths of a knowledge community is we have flexibility to organize ourselves however we'd like to. But that also means we have to work through and see if structures are working, if we have people in right places, and how to help the leadership team really thrive and figure out where we want to go. So we just wanted to take this moment to thank all the 41 and 42 leadership team members who have been with us on this journey over the last year. Some has been smooth, some has been rocky, some of it has been ambiguous, and we realize that. We just appreciate everybody chiming in and doing their part to help us figure out how to best support this group of professionals through NASPA. So thank you to everyone. One big thing that we did and worked hard on, our communication team really worked hard on establishing communication channels. So you've probably received emails. Those are coming from our communication team, which has been under the leadership of Mark this year. And we really appreciate all of those communication efforts. Tyler has been working on our social media presence. And so if you're on Facebook, we're out there, join us. We've got a LinkedIn connection as well, and also a Twitter piece happening. So join us in those areas. We're always trying to push new updates. In particular, in some of those areas, we'll be pushing content potentially from other areas as we see news items or those types of things coming through. It's our quickest way to get information out to you. We also have established a newsletter, and we'll be working to continue to improve that and provide information that you're looking for when you're looking for it. And we'll talk about how we're knowing what that is a little bit later. And then lastly, we have gotten our blog up and running and are working through that. So be looking to see some more blog additions coming through the NASPA website as we do that as well. But those will be the three main channels of communication that the KC is going to use. Another piece that we did this year just recently is submit some collaborative grant proposals to NASPA in conjunction with a couple of other divisions and KCs. Our community college leadership folks put together and worked on developing some programming that we could do at the community college level, and we've connected that in with the community college division, so that proposal's been submitted. And then also the leadership had conversations about connecting maybe in some minoritized groups and lifting those areas. And so we've also connected with the Indigenous Peoples KC to submit a proposal surrounding education with them as well. So we're currently in a waiting function as we wait to hear back from NASPA and the foundation about whether or not those grants have been received. But in the background, both of the teams that have been working on those have been thinking about, if we don't get the money, how could we still do something and leverage that partnership? So be looking for that potentially in the next year as well. Our education group has been working really hard, and you're going to hear from the leader of that team, Corinne, in a little bit about what we're doing upcoming and moving forward. But we did want to say that this year we have been able to kind of co-sponsor some webinars. Particularly, we did one on global dimensions of student development, which was well received. Then we partnered with the socioeconomic KC and delivered a live briefing on new ideas for inclusive orientation programs functioning on or focusing in that area. And then also we had opted to help out the new professional and graduate student KC with an offer to do a podcast for them in their series, talking about transitions and retentions in the sophomore year. So some things that we've been working on in that way. as well. Also, that group worked on establishing some awards and grants, and those proposals have been sent to the board. So we await to hear if the board will approve awards and grants. And so those will focus on education, research, and then uplifting practices that are happening in the OTR space. So we're hopeful that next year around this time, we might be rolling out some of those awards and grants, and that'll be a really great opportunity for the KC. The last piece, of course, was ensuring that we had content at conferences. The way the KC has decided to situate itself is that we believe that the Student Success Conference and the annual conference are the two big places that we need to be providing content and provide an opportunity for professionals to meet in both of those areas. And so we did have sessions at the Student Success Conference this last summer. Anticipate having content at this upcoming conference in whatever form that'll take. And then we did also have some great sessions planned for the annual conference this year. And hopefully we'll be able to connect back with some individuals that had some great content to offer and think about how we can provide that in a little bit of a different setting, given our circumstances. So not everything we've been up to, but a lot. We want to share a couple other things, and I want to turn it the mic over to our colleague Rashonda to talk about this.
Good afternoon, everyone. Good morning, whatever time zone you're joining us from. Thank you so much, Kimberly. First of all, I want to acknowledge the small but mighty group of folks who joined me as we worked on behalf of the KC to look at our vision, mission, values. So special thanks, they're all here today, so happy to see them chime in. Laura Randolph from Rutgers University, Joanne Goldwater from St. Mary's College of Maryland, and Carlos Guillen from University of Washington. Hello guys, thank you so much for everything. And so basically we were asked to look at our KC's vision, mission, and values. When the group was reestablished, there was just some concepts that were together, but not true mission, vision statements. So before we could tackle this project, we really spent a lot of time defining some terms, the terms of orientation, transition, and retention, so that we knew what context in which we were building our vision and mission from. So for orientation, we defined it as a collection of events, programs, experiences, and services designed to support new students as they acclimate to higher education. We define transition as any event or non-event that results in change throughout a student's college journey, beginning with pre-college preparation in high school through degree completion and pursuit of advanced degrees. And finally, retention we defined as the collective effort of both the student and institution to ensure continued persistence to graduation and degree completion. With those definitions in place, we were then able to work on the vision and mission statements. We felt it was very, and so we have those there for you. Not going to necessarily read them for you, but we did a lot of wordsmithing and we vetted it through the KC leadership. We weren't originally asked to work on core values, but as we worked on this activity, it was very important for us to identify these values in the sense that this is how we believe in going about completing and reaching our vision and our mission. So really focusing on education and knowledge, inclusion and community, and collaboration and support. It was an honor to work on this project on behalf of the KC, and we hope that all of these words, these concepts, will really truly guide our work as we continue to move our work forward within our KC. So again, special thanks to the committee members, and look forward to working with you all as we continue to move forward.
Great, thanks, Rashonda. So how do we go about doing this work? And so One thing that we knew we needed to do as we thought about moving forward was a needs assessment for the KC. So some of you on the call maybe participated in our needs assessment survey that we did earlier this year. And we just wanted to bring some of that data forward so that you might understand how the leadership group would be working, how we might be using this information to make some decisions. We felt good about our response rates. Based on the numbers that we think at the time we leveraged the survey for the membership, we think it's about an 18% response rate for our 74 responses that we received back. I don't have today the specific number that we're at, but we know we have kind of crested close to the 450 number in the KC. So this represents a little bit before that time. One question that we really wanted to know is what other KCs people were participating in. We thought that might help us understand where we might collaborate or how people were operating or thinking. And so what we provided here is our top 3 aligned KCs. So the most aligned KC was the Women in Student Affairs KC. So we have a lot of individuals in that. Following that was individuals that were thinking about how to ensure that partnerships between student affairs and academic affairs were working. And then our third one was student leadership programs. Those were the top 3. Now, we also wanted to mention that people that are participating with the Center for First Gen and Student Success was also highly rated, which we weren't surprised about. That was also another one. And then another one we felt is important to be paying attention to is a lot of people were aligning in the assessment, evaluation, and research KC as a priority for them as well. So just kind of a peek into where else people might be participating across NASPA. We did ask a question for people to tell us like what were their kind of top things they wanted to engage the KC in, and coming back from that were pretty firm commitments to looking for professional development and learning, but also an opportunity to share or gather resources in different ways. We also looked at what types of content everybody might be looking for in those areas. And these were kind of the big pieces that came back for us. So most people are really seeking new and emerging research to inform their practices on their campus and how they're operating. While also a significant number of people are still looking for kind of that formative, what's the foundation of these areas as they get going. People are also looking for population-specific information, whether that's something maybe at a transfer specific, first-generation specific, maybe ethnicity specific, those types of areas came through. And then individuals looking to just see what are other people doing right now and how might we think about adapting those types of practices on our campus. And really our hope for the needs assessment is that we're going to use this information to drive what we offer and how we prioritize the work of the KC. We did want to take a minute and just talk about some content focused questions that we offered. So we wanted to know what was most important to people. And so we asked this in 2 ways. First, we asked how important were either of the 3 content areas that we cover, the O, the T, and the R, as we say, to the work that you do on a daily basis. And then a secondary question about the importance of educational content you would be receiving in each of these areas. So what you're seeing is kind of the top answers from both of those questions. So connected to people's work area, they were asked to say, was this the most important, second most important, or least important? So you'll see in that area that transition and retention are really driving a lot of the work areas, and orientation kind of comes behind that. And then when we looked at educational content, it mirrored kind of those work area places as well. The people are really seeking out information surrounding larger concepts for transition and retention, and orientation is then coming in kind of behind that. So we'll be taking those things into consideration as we think about how to move forward as a KC. We also know that the responses aren't necessarily completely representative of the entire KC, as we didn't have a stronger response rate, but we are going to keep this in mind as we move forward and use the information we have to the best of our abilities. We also had some great open-ended questions that the group is working through in regards to how to deliver content, specific types of content that people are looking for. And so all the work groups in the leadership team will be using some of that information as we move forward.
So one of the pieces, as Kimberly said, we'll be moving forward with the development of a strategic plan. And so most of the knowledge communities, you might be members of other knowledge communities and see that several of them have come out over the past year with the development and the implementation of their strategic plan that aligns with NASPA's overall strategic plan. Since we were a newly reactivated KC last year, right around this time, we were granted a 1-year extension to develop our KC strategic plan. And so what our leadership team will be doing over the next few months, really a month and a half or so, is finalizing our strategic plan based upon this needs assessment to submit to Monica and Matt to provide to the NASPA board at their summer board meeting to officially approve. And then once that's approved, we'll be distributing that out to our KC members. That's the adopted strategic plan that we will be implementing over the next 3 years. So we're very excited about that as we move the KC forward into the direction that you as our members have identified that you'd like us to move forward in. At this point in time, I'm going to ask Corinne, who is our education and research coordinator for the KC, to talk to us a little bit about some of our current and upcoming educational resources and opportunities.
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today. I want to give a quick shout out to my team, some of whom are on today's meeting: Carlos, Julia, Laura, and Patty. As well as those who I don't see are here at the moment, Keith, Tori, and Jordan, for all the work that they've been doing so far this year and able to bring the things that were mentioned already. And there's a few other things that we're excited to be able to share about, and one of which is our publication and our contribution to the KC publication, and you'll see the title there on the screen. It's really about orientation within the college recruitment cycle. And there's so much that's been going on with that even before all of the current world that we're in right now, and it's changing as we speak. But a lot of it was triggered off by the NACAC ethics vote. And so if you're interested in learning more about that connection, please, I'm going to go ahead and put the link in the chat that goes directly to the publication, so you can go ahead and download that, get an eye on it. It's on page 65, and we'd love for you to take a look, and big shouts out again to Julia and Keith for working on that and putting that together. It's always an adventure and something new, and so us doing our first publication was a big deal, so thank you to them for that. And again, the conversation really does continue. I've seen many other articles and commentaries and pieces coming out about the NACAC vote, and then even more now with the impact on enrollment with COVID-19 and its impacts on our programs too. And then we've had a couple webinars as mentioned, but we have one coming up on April 13th about using predictive modeling as a tool for collaboration. And so I again want to thank Jordan as our team member that's responsible for really putting together our webinars and doing an amazing job of recruiting folks from within our KC as well as folks outside to bring in their knowledge and to inform all of us. I'm going to put the link in the chat as well for this webinar. We'd encourage you to go ahead and sign up and get registered so that you can join us there. And actually, I think I just sent that to someone privately, so I will send it to you all as the group with everyone. So go ahead and join us on April 13th for that webinar, and there's definitely more to come as well. We had some great programs that were being sponsored at the national conference that we might try to reach out and repurpose as webinars or other ways to make sure that that educational content's getting to you, and look forward to continuing to process the needs assessment that's been mentioned to make sure that we're bringing you the educational and research opportunities that you're looking for as KC members.
Thanks, Corinne. And as a reminder, that webinar, the predictive modeling webinar on April 13th, if you are officially a member of the OTRKC, meaning that you have selected the OTRKC on your NASPA profile, that is a free webinar for you as well. So if you've not officially selected the OTRKC on your member profile, you want to make sure and do that so you can participate in that webinar for free. It will be a very exciting webinar. I'm super excited and excited to get nerded out about predictive modeling. So At this point in time, I think one of the last pieces of our business items that we want to talk about are a couple of our current volunteer openings. We have 2 current positions that are open on Volunteer Central. The first is our communications coordinator. So Mark is rolling out as our current communications coordinator. And so that position is open. There's a job description on Volunteer Central. I'd be more than happy to chat with you about that as well if you have interest or questions about that position. And then if you are in NASPA Region 4 West, so if you are in the middle part of the nation, in Wyoming, in Colorado, New Mexico, Oklahoma, Arkansas, Kansas, Missouri, Nebraska, North Dakota, South Dakota, are 2 of our Canadian provinces. We would love to have you join us as our Region 4 West representative. That is both positions are 2-year positions, and so both of those positions are available on Volunteer Central. So if you have interest in those, please feel free to reach out to us or apply. So at this point in time, we are going to break you out into 3 breakout rooms based upon if you identified as working in the orientation, the transition, or the retention. We have at least 2 of our executive cabinet members who are there, going to be there in each of those breakout rooms. And this is this opportunity for you to chat with others who sit in your space. What are maybe some needs that you have from the KC? What are some of the best practices, the challenges? This is really 15 minutes of whatever you need to connect with others who sit in those spaces. So I'm going to let Monica do her magic in terms of turning the breakout room sessions on.
Awesome, yeah. I'm starting with the orientation one. And so only because it's big. And then I'll move you along. So I think you start to go into them when I click on you, but I'm not sure. But I have started assigning. So I'll stop talking now. I'll let you know when everyone's in.
Okay. Thanks for everybody for participating and joining us today.
Okay, I think everyone's in a room. If you have not been assigned to a room, I might not have been able to find you. Oh, Monica, I did see you. Okay, let me assign you to transition. Oops. How do I assign you? Oh, assign? No. Oh no. Can I not assign people now? Oh. Okay. Hmm.
So Monica, those that are still in the main room are those people that you didn't have places for them to go?
I think you're muted, Monica.
Everyone who indicated a preference has been assigned. So Jillian might have been in twice, maybe? I'm not sure.
Jillian, are you there with us?
I tried messaging people privately, so most people I got in. Okay.
Thank you for doing that all.
I know it's very awkward. I should have turned my camera off. I'm like,
Oh,
Avi.
so how'd we do?
Seems to be going well. It's a big group. How do you all feel?
You're muted.
Do we need to turn off the recording?
I don't know if I stop. Oh, I can pause it.
Well, hopefully you found some value in the breakout rooms. Hopefully you're able to find some really good conversation and connect with colleagues there. We hope that this conversation continues throughout your KC membership. So keep these conversations going. If there's any ways that the KC can be a resource for you as a member of the KC, please feel free to get in touch with us. Send us a message on Facebook or post something on there. Send us an email to the KC, to any of the leadership team. You can find all of our leadership team members on the KC page on the NASPA site. So we want to thank you for taking the time to join us today. We want to thank our leadership team members for their continued service on the leadership team. We know some of them are rolling off. We've got some new members joining us as of this meeting. So we want to thank all of our outgoing, our continuing, and our new KC leadership team members, we want to thank Monica for being here today and providing some technical support to us. And we want to thank you all for your continued support of the orientation, the transition, and the retention of the students on your own campuses. Kimberly, anything else you want to add?
Again, thanks so much for coming out today. We look forward to continuing to serve you and your needs and hopefully making your lives on your campus a little bit easier. We wish everybody safety and health as we continue to march through these uncertain times.
Thank
I
you
do have a
all.
quick question.
Yes.
This might be for Monica. I know that you're taping this session, but as far as the chat content, is a transcript of that going to be saved in some place? Because I know a lot of people were answering questions and putting links, and so it might be helpful for folks to know how to gather or capture some of that information.
You know, it does not save automatically. I'm trying to look through, you know, mostly I think the links were for the chats to everyone were like links to your social. And then I think most of the rest of it seemed to be introductions, which we were able to document that in the Google Sheet. So I think we have everything that we need. If you see something different, just let me know. But I guess, you know, some of it's your upcoming events and then the social pieces. So we might
I
be able
know
to just,
like for Corinne, for instance, she had just put an answer to a question and that ended in our breakout room in the chat.
oh, that does not save.
Okay.
Chat
So
breakouts.
someone, I think S. Sharon, just said you can something and save it.
I got it.
Awesome.
I got it, Rashonda. I saved it.
Awesome. Just wanted to, you know, have everybody's back. That's what I'm here for.
All right. Well, thank you all so much. Have a good day.
Good luck, everyone. Stay safe, stay healthy.